Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ask the King. This is part 2 for January 24th, 2019. I want to say thanks to everyone who's been tuning in so far. Whether you watch part 1 on YouTube or you've been here live on the stream so far, it's much appreciated. We're going to continue on. And let's just jump right back into forum questions for now and keep going there because we got Twitter questions. I'm going to do Q&A with the stream chat, etc. However, before we do that, I do want to give a special shout out to the patrons. That's right, to those who actually significantly contribute to my Patreon, on a monthly basis. These people still, every single month, help support my efforts to keep being here for you guys, all right? So thank you to the following people: Uncommon Sense, Peanut Brother, Vilix, Abdulrahman Althani, Fallen 1570, Big Tone 995, Imminent 55, Casey Wood, Planet Jeff, Thomas McDonald, Sean Given, Last Rambo 341, QPZ MWN, David Denmark, Ralik, Stormforce Gamer, Richie 7, Jacob Hendricks, Show Creos, Steven Slater 007, Michael Denealt, Matteo Vasilio, Ghost, and Hank Duma. Thank you, everybody. Okay, let's continue. So, someone on the forums named Richie7 had 3 completely different questions. All right, let's go ahead and answer all of these 3 completely different questions, okay? He says, question number 1. Why is it not an option to rent out your condo in Connecticut? Even if it's only a few $100 a month, wouldn't it be worth it to do a long distance with a property management company? Yes. Let me explain the difference between simply renting a place that you own and having a property management company. This is kind of an important factor. Many people know I still own that condo back in Connecticut, right? That from 2009 through 2014, I was making all my content in, okay? And so they're like, why don't you get rid of it? Can't get rid of it because it's underwater. No, not physically. It's not actually underwater. What that means is I owe far more on the mortgage for the house than the house is worth. When I bought it, the housing market was way up. So I think it was like 130 grand or something. It's now worth 60 grand. Even though nothing's gone bad with it, everything's fine. The housing market in Connecticut has gone boo and tanked. The mortgage on it, from my understanding, is still just under $100,000. So I can't sell it because I'd only make 60 grand. I wouldn't have enough to pay the mortgage, and you can't just get rid of a mortgage still owing 40 grand, okay? So that being said, it sucks. There's no way I can get rid of the house. So what options are there? It could just sit there and bleed my finances, which is what it's been for the past 5 years. That's exactly what it's done. Or I could rent it. Now, right now, I could call any real estate company in Connecticut and say, I want to rent out a property that I have. And what they would do is they would bring in a list of people to screen. All right, they would screen their backgrounds, screen information, find what's called a reliable renter for me. They would find someone to come and sign a contract, lease contract, or whatever. I want to live here a certain amount of time, certain amount of money a month and everything. Due by this day of the month, etc. Okay? And this person would start living there and start paying rent. Now, that real estate company would take a cut of that money initially. It would only be like, I think they said it was like a cut of the first 2 months' rent or something like that. They would make a significant chunk. And then after that, that's it. They're out of it. And then that person would rent there and live there and pay me directly rent to live there. However, here's the catch to all of that. Number 1, if that person finds something wrong, oh my God, there's a leak in the apartment. There's a leak in the toilet, needs to be fixed. The air conditioner died. Well, since I'm renting it, I'm responsible for maintenance. I don't live in Connecticut. I can't walk into the place to see what's actually going on. So immediately, the moment that anything goes wrong, I would have to hire a professional to walk in the door to fix it, whatever is the problem. So, the faucet's leaking. Got to call a plumber, send them in there probably for hundreds of dollars to fix the leak. You see what I mean? Being a landlord is not easy. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of stress, and it's expensive. You need to bring in a significant amount of money to be able to afford to be a landlord. I don't have said money. My whole point is I'm trying to raise additional funds. What if within the first year of this person renting the place, I'm making some money, but then half the money goes out to shit like that, right? That's not good. Now, in addition, as a landlord, you're now responsible for all the things that could go wrong. What if this tenant is a real asshole and at night they have their friends over, they're making loud noises, violating all the rules of the condo facility there and getting into trouble? They're not going to contact the renters. They're going to contact me and say, your tenant's an asshole, violating all the rules. If you don't start, paying attention to the rules here, we're going to start hitting you with fines. We're going to start levying lawsuits against you because you got a tenant here who's not behaving and is bothering all the other people who live here. So then I would have to find a way to get them either to stop, or I would have to take legal action against them, which, by the way, if you're not aware, taking legal action against someone who lives in a property that you own is a nightmare. Now, a third thing that could happen, which would really suck, okay, would be, what if this person's just a complete asshole and ends up being a druggie or someone who's just there to fucking rip the place apart? I actually saw on Twitter another YouTuber, okay, who decided to rent out their old place, literally like what I'm proposing here at my place in Connecticut. And within 6 months, the renter stopped paying rent, and they didn't hear from them ever again. So they sent someone to check out the place. The entire place had been destroyed. They ripped the walls down and took all the piping out of the walls and went and sold it to buy drugs and just destroyed the whole place. Problem is, they own that place. So you have a mortgage on it, you have to fix it. You can just leave it like that unless you're just going to have it as a shithole and pay the mortgage off with a big hole in a building. You know what I mean? So that's all your responsibility if you're a renter, okay? Now, what Richie suggested, what about a property management company? A property management company is a company that's supposed to do everything for you. They make sure the tenant pays their rent. They make sure the tenant is abiding by the rules of wherever you're living. If there's something that goes wrong, there's a leak, the air conditioner dies, they take care of all that for you. Whether they have their own people or they hire someone, they take care of it for you. So it's all hands off. The way you see it's just supposed to be a revenue stream that's coming in for you with no frills, no fringes. You're not bothered by it at all unless something absolutely extreme happens, okay? That would be ideal. Now, ultimately, that property management company would take a lot of my money that I'd be getting for the rent from that condo in Connecticut. FYI, average rent in the area is between $1,000 to $1,300 a month. I know that sounds insane, but Connecticut is fucking expensive as shit for no reason. The property management company would probably take half. No exaggeration. So you're talking, instead of making $1,000 a month, which would help me dramatically, I'd probably be making about $500 a month, okay? If that, because by the way, if any of that maintenance or whatever has to happen, it comes out of my pocket. So immediately you're talking, all right, maybe a few $100s a month extra if this were to work out. So here's what happened. When I first moved from Connecticut to Washington State, I didn't have any financial problems. I was making so much money on YouTube, I could afford everything. Then a million things happened with people trolling me, destroying my channels with false copyright strikes, deriding me, making me look like an asshole when it wasn't fair because it wasn't the truth about me. And then YouTube changed their algorithms, so all my YouTube channels no longer showed up in search anymore. A million things happened. And so basically after 2-3 years of that place sitting there, and what happened was my aunt was living there. I was allowing my elderly aunt to live there because I knew that she was getting very old and that eventually she was going to pass away. So she wanted somewhere to live in Connecticut until she could find assisted living. And she lived there for a good 2 to 3 years when I first moved here. And then finally she did move into assisted living, and last year she passed away. So for 2 or 3 years, I wasn't going to rent it anyway. I was figuring I make enough money, I'll do something nice for my aunt, which I did. But then when she moved out, it was possible to rent. I looked into it. There is not a single reputable property management company in that area of Connecticut that will touch that condo with a 10-foot pole. I looked into it. And most of the reputable companies are mostly in the better parts of Connecticut, like northern Connecticut. Because you say, Connecticut's a rich state, right? Every time I think Connecticut, I hear snooty white people who are rich. And it's the people like the movie stars that live in Connecticut, right? That is true, but not the part of Connecticut where I live. The part of Connecticut where I live was southwestern Connecticut, which is considered lower income, not as good, a lot of bad elements in that area, to say the least. And sadly, it's considered a high-risk area for tenant issues. So most of the reputable companies in Connecticut that do property management will not deal with any properties in my area because they consider it a high risk area where there's a high chance someone who rent it will end up being a problem, whether they won't pay their rent on time, they'll cause problems with the rules or whatever, and they don't want to deal with that. They're like, we have a reputable company, we don't want to deal with assholes where we know that there's a high risk for that, and we have a lot of problems. So sadly, the only thing I would have to do is take an insanely huge chance on someone who basically has like no online ratings, no, you know what I mean, no history, no testimonials, and I looked at a couple of them. In particular, there was one person who apparently was already doing property management of beach houses down at the beach side of the same town where my condo is in Connecticut. And I contacted this guy via email, explaining to him, listen, I live in Washington, we have a big time difference between us, and I work all day. So please give me email correspondence. This is the best way that we can talk. Here's what I would like to discuss, renting this place out, and we can have more further details if you're interested. The guy calls me immediately, even though I said in first contact, don't call me. Fucking calls me, leaves me 3 voicemails during a day. I'm trying to reach you regards renting out your place. I'd like more information. So obviously I can't call him back. I'm working, right? So then, this was about 2.5 years ago, by the way. So then I write him back an email again. I say, sorry, I told you initially in the initial email, I cannot email back and forth. I'm sorry about that. That's just the nature. Our time zones are different and I work all day. By the time I get back to you, it'll be like the middle of the night for you. Please, let's have email correspondence. The guy fucking called me again. That was it. I'm like, I don't know. This is supposed to be the guy who you're going to want to manage your property, and he can't get step 1 communication down. He's a fucking moron. So how on earth am I going to trust someone like that to take care of my property? And that's what I mean. Like, those are the kind of people who I found in Connecticut. Oh yeah, I do property management. Well, do you have a website? No. Do you have any reputable reviews online? No. Well, what the fuck? So I'm going to pay this person who I can't contact, they won't contact me properly, to do a job and probably do a horrible job and get me in trouble. You see what I mean? The poor problem here, the problem is, ultimately when you rent a place out, you are responsible for what happens. So if they tear the place apart, they don't abide by the rules, I could get sued, and I could become even more financially bad off by having thousands of dollars in fees and being sued and all this, which I can't afford, all right? So the potential of maybe getting a few $100s extra every month with the high-ass risk of being sued or getting in trouble by a condo association or getting extra fees on top, it's not worth it. If I could find a reputable property management company to do it for me, 100% today I would rent my condo in Connecticut, but I haven't found a single one. They just don't exist in the area. People don't want to rent those places, Okay. So, shout out. Oh, let's keep going here. Richie7 had more questions. His second question, he says, even though you love streaming, has there been a game that you wish you could just play and enjoy offline? For example, a survival horror game that may be more immersive if you just played it alone and didn't have to worry about entertaining a stream at the same time. Honestly, I think I like survival horror games way more now that I stream them. I used to play them offline. I didn't like them as much. I think seeing a jump scare and laughing at it together collectively, or having a tough boss fight and then having reaction, talking with you guys about it immediately, is actually better than just playing it offline and getting frustrated or getting scared. I actually like that direct live interaction that we get. I think it actually makes it a more fun experience. And let's face it, tense games, scary games, a lot of people can't handle them. When you can experience that game with someone else live, it basically takes that element away. Yeah, we'll get scared for a moment, but then we'll laugh at it. We know it's just a video game. Versus if you're in a dark room. Here we go, hold on. Okay. You're in a dark room, and all the lights are off. And you hear creepy noises around you in your game in your headphones. Oh my God, what could it be? And then all of a sudden, you're about to turn the corner, and then someone who's actually in your house opens the door to your office. Oh, hey, Phil. Ah! You see what I mean? Like, I could definitely understand it, why some people like that element to playing a survival horror game. But for me, I just like playing them the way that I play them. You know what I mean? And I enjoy them more sharing that with you than just doing it, offline. So, okay. Don't worry, the lights are back on. The creepy monster's still here, but the lights are back on. Okay. All right, but no, honestly, I can't think of, like, thinking of all the games that I play. A game that I would absolutely 100% enjoy more playing offline than streaming it. I guess the only thing I would say would be the playthroughs that get ruined. Like, for example, an MMO. World of Warcraft, I actually like the game. I used to play World of Warcraft back in the day, and I loved it. Then when I went to do a stream of it, people ruined it because of trolling. You see what I mean? So as long as it's not a game that can be absolutely ruined by some kind of online trolling element, any of those games I would rather stream. But I guess I would say those games with the online capacity to be massively trolled and have it ruined, that's probably the games that I would prefer to play by myself. Okay? There you go. And then Richie says, what is the meaning of the cowboy hat for Ask the King? I get asked this about once a year. I guess it's time to do the answer. So, back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't have Ask the King. I didn't even have, like, a series where I talked to you guys directly like this. I was a YouTuber who primarily just did gameplay videos, raw gameplay. And then once a week, I would do the weekend preview where I would explain what's coming up for the week. And I would do things like DSP Tries It, reviewing food, unboxing the new games. A release day unboxing was a huge series back then, and all of that. Well, eventually, people started wanting to reach out to me and talk to me, so they would send me private messages on YouTube. Excuse me. They did send me private messages on YouTube, but they would also send me private messages on, like, Xbox Live, PSN, and eventually I did a series of videos, friend request ridicule. I'd make fun of people who were sending me friend requests for no reason and stuff like that. But then eventually there was a desire. People were like, we have questions for you, Phil. And you really don't do a show where you just talk with us and answer questions. So I started Ask the King. Incidentally, at the time that I decided to start doing Ask the King, that year, I traveled to Nashville, Tennessee for a Street Fighter tournament where I was playing Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo to qualify to go to what was called Super Battle Opera, or SBO, a big invitational tournament they do in Japan. Well, they were doing in Japan back then every year. I don't even think they do it anymore. I think it's been disbanded. But back then, it was this big epic tournament, a big stage and lights. So you qualify to go over there and participate against the best in the world at Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So I went to Nashville with my friends, John, Rambo, and Howard, to participate in this tournament. And we decided during our trip, let's actually, instead of just play video games, let's go into Nashville, Tennessee. Let's see what's there. Of course, big down-home country music, country boys, cowboys, huge out there. So we actually walked down the main strip, the main road in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, and we saw all the bars. We walked into a couple of the bars, got, some food and stuff. And one thing we did, we walked into this hat shop, okay, which also sold boots. And I said, man, wouldn't it be a really cool souvenir to get a genuine cowboy hat? Not one that's just any old one you buy off of a store shelf. This is a custom fit cowboy hat just for me. So we went in, and they measured my head size. We tried on hats. They said, this one, I said, I like the look of that one. And ended up getting that. And also, they wanted to do boots. I was like, I don't really think I'm ever going to be wearing cowboy boots in my life realistically. But the hat, I could maybe make do of something, in a video or whatever. So I went there. They custom fit. I bought it. And they said, when this hat is done, because it's going to be a custom hat for you, we're going to mail it to you in Connecticut. So they did. And it showed up. And I was like, wow, amazing Stetson custom-made hat. And this hat has been a part of my content ever since for when I do Ask the King. And it's funny because if I don't wear this, I remember there was 1 or 2 times I streamed, I forgot to put it on. People screaming, where's the hat? You need the hat. What the fuck, Phil? Put the hat on. Once I even put on a crown. They're like, no, get that crown the fuck out of here. Put your hat back on. Because it's been such a long-running tradition. 74 episodes. 74. Where, it's been kind of the same thing. So I can understand people get used to it. You know what I mean? All right, Straight Cash Homie did 100-bit cheer. He says, you plan on another summer of retro. I love when you stream Super Mario World and Mega Man. I mean, I don't think it would ever be a whole summer because with those summers of retro that I did, it didn't work out too well, being honest. They didn't. Those summer marathons, attendance basically went boo, and people complained the whole summer that I was doing too much of the same thing. But I would always consider doing retro games during the summer. Like I just mentioned, Donkey Kong Country or Super Mario RPG, stuff like that might be games that I would consider doing this summer, okay? Thank you for the cheer, by the way. And then Pseudonymous Gamer gifted a sub to Bikini Bottom X. So congrats to Bikini Bottom X. And thank you, Pseudonymous Gamer, for your ongoing support. Thank you. All right. Up next, Twitter questions. So these are all questions that I took from Twitter users. The first question is from Emilio. He says, what is your most favorite thing and least favorite thing that you've tried on DSP Tries It? Man, absolute favorite things. That would be tough because I've done so many over the years. It would be very hard for me to say that was the absolute best. I remember back in the day, I tried a few things from my local place, Duchess. Okay, that was a local place, only local like Connecticut area, and they're fast food, but it's more diner style. Like they make everything fresh, grilled chicken sandwiches. They make burgers that are amazing. And I remember trying things like, I think I had a chicken parm sandwich and things like that. And then those ended up being a staple of my diet when I lived there in Connecticut. I would love eating those because I tried them on DSP Tries It. They were amazing, so I kept eating them. I remember once there was this burger at McDonald's years ago, and I think it was called the Clubhouse Burger. It was a seasoned patty, which they almost never do at McDonald's, with lettuce and tomato, and I think it had a kind of cheese, and it had a delicious sauce, a custom-made sauce. That burger was good, and they only had it for like 6 months. It was really damn good, and then they got rid of it. But I remember the Clubhouse Burger being a standout for me. It's just tough because I'm trying to remember, like, what are the other things? I don't know. Like, I've done so many DSP Tries It over the years that it's very hard for me to say. All right, now, but I can tell you definitively what some of the worst were. The Wendy's salad. I got a salad from Wendy's that when I ate it, I legitimately got sick to my stomach for about a day and couldn't stop shitting and puking. It tasted all right, but I got sick as shit after eating the Wendy's salad. I will never get another fast food salad like that ever again. The Pizza Hut pools of cheese pizza. What does that mean? Well, you know how Pizza Hut does stuffed crust where they put like stuffed mozzarella cheese into the crust? Well, they had one this time. Instead of being inside the crust actually had these rounded pools, and it basically was pools of liquefied cheese that then had a layer of disgusting grease on top of it. So when you went to eat it, it was like a layer of white translucent grease that you had to eat through to even get to the cheese. It was the most gross thing I've ever seen. And John Rambo and I tried it, and we ate a bunch of it. I'm not gonna lie, but it was fucking nasty. And then I would say probably the absolute most disgusting has to be that Buttery Jack burger, man. That Buttery Jack burger. And I've had some nasty shit over the years. Don't get me wrong. Some nasty sandwiches that fall apart. I remember the Artisan chicken sandwich at McDonald's. That was basically the driest chicken patty I've ever had. Dried stale bread. No sauce. It was like nasty. But that Buttery Jack burger is so fucking disgusting. That was one of the few things I could not finish at all because it was so nasty. All right. So what is the Buttery Jack burger? It's from a fast food chain out here called Jack in the Box. And what it is this beaded bread bun. So it's a big puffy bun. Lettuce, tomato, I think onion. Your choice of burger because they do different ones. They could do like a mushroom version or other ones. But I think I just got the regular one. And then this disgusting butter sauce. All right. That's like, it's like yellow and it's like chunky butter sauce. And then they cover the fucking burger with butter. They like paint it with butter. So I opened it up. The whole thing was completely saturated in liquefied butter. What the fuck is this? I picked it up and it was like a pool of just like liquid was pouring out of this burger into the fucking, paper that it had been wrapped in. And I bit a few times into it and I ate it. I was like, it didn't taste horrible, but it was so disgusting to eat. Your hands got covered in butter eating this thing. And honestly, for the insane negative effects that thing must have on your health, the flavor was nowhere near good enough. Right now, Jack in the Box does a prime rib burger. It's seasonal. They don't always do it all year. That burger is really good, and it doesn't have any kind of greasy, disgusting sauce on it. It's just really tasty prime rib patty with like lettuce and tomato and some condiments or whatever. It's good. That I like. Not disgusting, covered dripping in butter. And the thing is, they still sell it. Okay. But honestly, I don't think it's the same. I can't imagine that they continued to play that. They continue to sell that thing as is. Like, how? Someone's gonna eat that and die. You know what I mean? Like someone who already is in a bad heart or whatever, you can eat that fucking thing and pass away and get sued. So I have to think that maybe like that was something they did for the launch, and then they went ahead and changed it. I can't imagine going there and getting the same burger again. I would probably vomit, like right there. That was the worst by far. Okay, so there's your answer. Shout out to Bottom Cat, who says he's a new viewer. And cheered. What did he say here? You look like Dutch from Red Dead, he says. Okay, well, thank you for that, I guess. Gunk Goblin subscribed to the channel for the 3rd month in a row. Thanks for the 3-month resub. Ted tipped me $1 as well. I played the Mortal Kombat 11 demo. I'm not even aware there's a demo out. I know that there was, at one point, like, information released. But I'm not aware there's a demo out. And quite frankly, starting tomorrow, Resident Evil 2, next week, Kingdom Hearts 3, balancing that with everything else I'm doing, I don't think I'm going to have time for demos. Just being honest. Plus, you know I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11 when it comes out in late April. You just know I'm playing it, so. All right, Straight Cash Homie just cheered. He's highly unlikely if you and John Rambo stream together one more time, it would be gold. Well, first of all, it's not viable. It's never going to happen. We don't live together for us to stream together. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to continue doing co-op stuff like Smark Guys, our pro wrestling show, after I moved. It was John who was 100% completely dishonest and just lied to me for a year, making excuses why not to do it instead of just being honest with me. Then he came out with that really negative video about me on the internet, exposing all these things he didn't like about me, when in reality, all he ever had to do was have a conversation with me about them, and they all would have been fixed. So, I mean, you see what I mean? It's not going to happen. This is a guy who was dishonest with me for a year after I moved, apparently was being dishonest with me for time before I moved, then decides to air his grievances not to me to get them fixed, but instead insulting me on the internet. So that's not how you handle shit, especially when you're acting mature and you have someone who you respect. If anything, what I learned during that time period is that John didn't respect me. Because if he actually respected me, he would have been upfront with me, and he would have talked with me and got these things settled and or at least aired the grievances, rather than holding them in and then bombing me with them a year or more than a year. It was a year and a half after I had moved. If you respect someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt, and you actually give them a chance to fix something if you feel that they've wronged you or whatever. And John didn't do that. He never gave me that opportunity. So sadly, I unfortunately would have zero interest in doing anything else with him unless he was going to come and basically man up and apologize to me and say, Phil, I'm sorry that I went about that the way that I did. I felt wronged, but you're right. I shouldn't have done it that way. There's no point. And by the way, this other thing is, Phil, why don't you contact John Rambo? I was the one contacting him all along. I was the one after I moved. I would text him repeatedly, trying to talk to him, see how he's doing, get information from him if he ever wanted to do Smart Guys or anything else. And he basically was at the end was just blowing me off. Then when he made his big video about me, he acted like I was the one who never contacted him. It was a complete lie. It was the opposite. I was the one who always contacted him. He never contacted me. It was like as soon as I moved, he wanted nothing to do with me anymore. So why on earth would there be a reconciliation when the ball is 100% on his side? He's the one who had the problem. He's the one who didn't tell me about the problem. He's the one who insulted me on the internet after the fact and then acted like I was the one who was at fault. So, no, you're not going to see anything else between me and him. At this point now, it's been, 3.5 years since he severed his ties to me completely by putting out that video. I'm pretty sure he's not magically going to overnight change his mind and want to come back and do stuff. So, the answer is no. All right, and Goldry Bluzco subscribed to the channel for the 6th month in a row and said thanks for the stream. So, thank you very much, Goldry Bluzco, for 6 months of support. I appreciate that. Okay? All right. Moving on. The next question. Wait a minute. The next question is from Lord Low Tier, who says, what is your most anticipated game of this year? I don't have a most anticipated game of this year, but I briefly looked through the release schedule of the games that have set release dates. These are the ones that I'm the most hyped for. Resident Evil 2, Metro Exodus, Sekiro, I spelled it wrong, Mortal Kombat 11, Rage 2, Crash Team Racing's Remaster, and Shenmue 3. There are many other games coming out, but those are the ones I'm most hyped for, and I'm sure if and when we get more information about the rest of the releases for the second half of the year, of which we have like zero info, I'll get more hyped for the rest of the year as well, but this is basically for the first half. That's what I'm really excited for. Okay? All right. NPL Bear says, how do you think you've changed as a person throughout the years? Many different ways, all right? As I said it before, when I started on YouTube years and years ago, I was an idiot. I'll openly admit that. I remember on one of the earlier episodes of Ask the King, someone came in with a question and said, Phil, Notch is now going to charge for Minecraft, but up to now, he's been giving it away for free. What are your feelings about that? And at first of all, I went off on a rant about how Minecraft is only for children, and I don't understand why it's so popular, even though I'd never played it, and I had no frame of reference to make such an answer. Then I basically called Notch an idiot, so why would you, how are you going to do that when the game's been free up to now, and now you're going to start charging for it? I was a complete moron, because what I would do is I would just take a question from the show, and you have no frame of reference, all right? I have no knowledge of the situation, no frame of reference, and I would just talk out of my ass. And that was stupid as hell. When you're someone who's going to put out a show that's going to get viewership on the internet, and you know there's going to be people who are going to listen to what you have to say and take it as fact, you got to be more responsible than that. And back then, I was very irresponsible. I was. I was very much a person who did not do that, did not take due diligence. I would say stuff that would insult people, that they didn't deserve it, or it could concretely hurt them, and I didn't give a shit. It was bad, I was basically, in the very beginning of the time when I was starting up and becoming popular on YouTube, I didn't realize the kind of power that I had, and that things that I said and did could actually concretely hurt others and stuff. You know what I mean? Keep in mind, back then, I also was much more popular than I am today. I had a lot of clout in the gaming community with the stuff that I said. I was kind of seen as the Joe average gamer who doesn't have an insider view. So this is how the outsider gamer who still likes games but isn't in on all the industry stuff thinks about stuff. That was very different. You know what I mean? Very different back then. Now, a lot of the times, I'll see questions that are like bait questions. I won't answer them anymore. You know what I mean? You're going to ask me about a situation. I know nothing about this situation whatsoever. Why am I going to address it? Or at least if I see a situation, I'm gonna try to do some research first to figure out what actually happened in that situation before I'm gonna address that on a stream. You see what I mean? So at least in this day and age, I try to be a lot more responsible. I try not to speak up about things about politics and religion and stuff like that unless I absolutely have to. Because, like, for example, this Article 13 that was threatening Twitch and YouTube and everything on the internet, that I need to speak up against because that was going to ruin everything for a lot of people. But outside of that, I always try to stay outside of those realms. I'm the guy who plays games. I know my role. I'm here to entertain you and to make you feel chill and relaxed when you watch my streams and to have fun. I'm not the guy to stand on a soapbox and say, I know better than everyone else, and here's everything that you should know because, big smart guru Phil is now going to tell you everything about life. I'm not, People ask me on streams today, what, you have love advice and stuff? No, I'm not going to do that shit because that's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? I wasn't like that back in the day. Also, back in the day, I was very, very stubborn and obstinate. If you gave me feedback or suggestion to improve, my opinion was, well, look at me. I'm popular on YouTube already doing it the way I'm doing it. So why in the holy hell would I listen to your opinion or your feedback when I know what I'm doing? I've done this for so long, and there's no reason why I wouldn't be in the right or doing it the right way. So, don't even bother. I know what I'm doing. Trust me. And that's different from today when a lot of people give me suggestions. Phil, would you ever try this game? Have you ever heard of this one? Like just the other day, someone said Subnautica, right? And I said, you know what? If Subnautica is a kind of chill game, maybe later this year when things have calmed down with my other chill stuff like Minecraft, you want to see variety, maybe I would consider playing a game like Subnautica. Previously, I'd be like, I don't know what Subnautica is. I'm never playing it, and just throw it away and never play it. So that's kind of a big difference. I take feedback. I listen to criticism where I used to not do that at all. I would write it all off as hogwash. I'm the person who's popular, not you. I know better than you. That's such a stupid, ignorant, elitist, and just wrong way to approach this kind of a thing. I got to understand that the reason that I'm popular is because of you. You guys watch, you guys interact, you guys contribute. That's why I'm still here. And so I need to work with you to constantly improve my content. I can't be behind the times. I can't be the last guy to adopt direct capture, the last guy to make live streaming my deal. You know what I mean? And sadly, I hate to say I was for a while. Thank God now I'm not. And in a lot of ways, being a full-time streamer, I've actually gone to the forefront of that. And there's a lot of people who are behind me still stuck on YouTube making edited videos, and I feel that that's kind of the past, and live streaming really is the future, so I'm glad to be a part of that. But that's something that I definitely think that I've changed. I I've changed in the past from how I was in the past to how I am now. And I would basically say kind of the last thing would be that I now actively, when I see a situation, I try to look from the perspective of the other person. I try to put myself in their shoes. I didn't used to do that when I was younger. When I was younger, it would be, I don't care about your position. All I know is how this affects me, and that's all I care about. I don't want to hear about from your side of things or your side of the fence what's going on. That's why I would have a very hard time ever affiliating myself with only one political party in the United States, because there are some things over here I agree with, there's some things over here I agree with, there's some things in the middle that I agree with, and there's some things I disagree on both sides. And a two-party system is so divisive because you got so many people like, well, in general, I think I like this party better because I agree with them more often, so I'm that. I refuse to do that. That, to me, that's something that, like, you're basically conceding that you're going to make that polarizing side always win just because 70% of the time you agree with them. What about the other 30% of the time when you completely disagree? Oh, I don't care. Just keep going that way. I can't do that. You know what I mean? Because I can now see from both sides and understand perspectives on both sides. And it's funny because there's some things I 100% agree on, and there's some things I hate about both sides that I like because they affect me. And I'm like, man, you know, these people might have been the most well-intentioned people, but they didn't execute properly, so now everyone's fucked because of it. Yeah, and I see that all the time. But that's different. You know, when I was younger, again, I'm one way, black and white. Everything's black and white. There's a right and a wrong. And if you're not in the right, you're in the wrong. And there's no shades of gray. There's no different ways to go about things. There's no compromise. There's no working together. It's right, wrong. And as I got older and I matured, especially over these last 10, 11 years that I've done this, my brain has completely rewired itself to be differently, okay? So that's a cool thing. All right. Continuing on. Let's see here. Master Saru says, these days people will go to do anything to get clout. For example, someone tried starting beef with Ninja over something he did a year ago. What do you think of clout chasers and the people who think it's okay? It's stupid. Because, you know, it's like I just mentioned, people change over time. So imagine someone still goes after me for something I did 10 years ago. They still do. They will still go after something, a video that I put out in late 2010. So we're talking over 8 years ago. Oh my God, that was the one time when Phil did something that was seen as offensive and racist. That's Phil to a T, and how dare he be allowed on YouTube and Twitch for something that he did over 8 years ago. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a human. You've never made a mistake. You're a perfect person who never, ever has done something that you maybe categorize as wrong or over the top or kind of not correct by modern standards. And now you're going to tell me that because of that, you're just stained for life, right? And what you see is people who try to do this shit. You see it on social media recently. Oh, let's look at a celebrity tweet from a decade ago that, oh my God, that was an insensitive joke or a tweet that was insulting 10 years ago. And now that person, you know, can't make movies anymore or can't even get a gig in stand-up or loses a job because, oh, you found something insensitive they did 10 years ago and you're a clout chaser. Oh, look, I'm the guy who exposed this guy for who he is and blah, blah, blah. Get the fuck out of here. The bottom line is, when you are a celebrity or if you're someone who at least at face value, has some kind of public persona, okay? You got to understand that you are in the limelight constantly, and people will micro-analyze everything you do, put you under the microscope, per se. But we're all fucking human. Things that we did years ago are not things you did today. You know what I mean? I openly admit, in the past, I did stupid shit. I used to do, you know, over-the-top jokes. I said words I shouldn't have said. Things that are just dumb. As part of the retrospective event that we just did in September, we saw a few of those moments and we're like, what the hell did I say that for? Do that for, right? And that's stuff I would never do in the modern era. That's crazy that I even did that stuff back in the day. But you learn from it, you mature, all right? Just my commentary style, all right? My commentary style back then, and actually I was talking to a cat about this the other day too. She's like, you know, back then you used to be so vulgar. You'd play a game and it'd all be sex, sex, sex. Look at that girl's tits and sexual comments about the girl constantly and stuff like that, or racist jokes and stuff. And now I don't do that shit anymore. I've phased it out and people still like my stuff. You know, I think back then it was more of an, oh my God, this is the guy who's over the top extreme. And I kind of take that from my influence from watching the Angry Video Game Nerd. Where you watch an old school Angry Video Game Nerd video, every other word out of the guy's mouth is fuck, shit, ass, duty, you know, liquid Hershey squirts, fucking, you know, just nasty shit that he used to say, and then, you know, it changes over time. And the same thing here, where like when I started, that was kind of my inspiration. So I got to be as over the top vulgar as I can. Every puerile, childish reference to get the teen viewers on YouTube to like what I'm doing and laugh at my jokes and stuff. And then after a while, it got played out, man. You know what I mean? Like, it just got bad. It just got like, why am I still doing this? And I didn't even enjoy doing it anymore. It became more, I'm a childish comedian who's here to do stupid, gross comedy, sexual comedy, instead of actually being someone who's here to have fun and enjoy the game. You know what I mean? And it was actually, when I mellowed out more, I cut that out. I started being more reactive, more serious with my playthroughs, doing more lengthy side content and enjoying the stories more, interacting with you guys during the streams and doing more chill streams. I think things have gotten much better, you know? But look how different Phil of 2019 is versus Phil of 2009, you know? Complete night and day when you look at the kind of commentary and stuff that I used to do. And that's the thing. A clout chaser. Did you see what Phil did 10 years ago? Look at the kind of person he is. And they still do this. Like, for example, I'll try to get a sponsorship. And I'll announce the sponsorship, because obviously if you're going to have a sponsor, you have to announce it so people know about it. And immediately they'll go attack that person on social media. Did you see this racist thing he did on Blip TV in 2010? Did you see this thing he did, 8 years ago? What the fuck? It's like, show me something recent. You know, that Phil's still like that and he does those things. You can't. But that's it. They'll just spam the fuck out of these people looking for clout and get people in trouble. And they get jollies out of that stuff. They do. They literally get jollies. So, you know, it is what it is. The modern clout chaser for me are the people who steal my content just to be negative about it. You illegally restream my streams. You download my videos off YouTube and re-edit them for your own sake just to say nasty shit about me. That's the ultimate clout chaser. That's a person who has no fucking talent whatsoever. If it wasn't for me creating the content first, they would have nothing to put out, because all they are someone writing my coattails to make their own content. And they know for a fact that if I were to go away overnight, they'd be done. So that's why, oh God, we'll harass Phil, we'll fuck with him, but don't ever destroy him, because what else would we make fun of, and how would we ever get any clout for ourselves if we have to have our own talent, which we don't have. And that's what I mean. Those are those kind of people. They only ever were known because of me. And it's funny because over the years, there's been a large group of people who've been like that, and all of a sudden they'll have white hot popularity and then they'll go away. I can just tell you, the people who started off things like this is how you don't play movement. Oh my God, they were known for 2-3 years as the biggest thing, and then no one cared about them. The SOK. Oh my God, the biggest haters of Phil, they're all hilarious. Then all of a sudden, oh, now they're not anymore. Now they're like the most pathetic humans on planet Earth. Like, wait a minute. One day you worshipped these people. The next day you say that they're awful. Well, no, actually in reality they were always awful. You're just a fucking idiot who went with a bandwagon, right? But that's what I mean. These are all just clout chasers. Here's someone who has some kind of notoriety, some kind of popularity. Bring them down however we can. Throw our hooks into them and pull them down, whether it's show something outdated from years ago, whether it's spin something to be negative to make them look bad, and we get some clout for doing it, and then they get pulled down a peg, and I can get my big E penis erect because I feel like I actually concrete hurt someone, and I have that ability. Because in real life, God forbid, I have ability to do anything. I'm probably just a powerless wimp who just sits around in his fucking PC or on his phone all day trying to hurt other people because I'm just a nobody, and I have a horrible life in real life. So let me now take that negativity from my real life and put it towards someone who's positive and someone who's successful on the internet. Okay? That's what I think about clout chasers. Okay. Moses 137 asked me, do I still have my wisdom teeth? If so, did they ever bother you in any way? I'm asking for the fact that I have all 4 of them, and I fear having pain later on in life as I'm still fairly young. I do indeed have all of my 4 wisdom teeth. Okay? I have all of them. And in reality, okay, I do have pain every once in a while. It's weird because I'll go months, and then all of a sudden, one day my back of my mouth will hurt me. And I'll be like, what the fuck is this, what's hurting my mouth? And I'll look in the mirror, I look inside, get a flashlight. There's nothing there, and I'll touch the gum in the back where the wisdom tooth would have come out, and it hurts. What the fuck does it hurt for? Is it coming out? Oh my God. I'm 37 years old. My fucking wisdom tooth popping out of my mouth now. Who knows, right? Right? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But then it goes away. And that's kind of been my whole life. I feel some pain every once in a while. Oh God, is my wisdom tooth coming in? And then within a couple of days it goes away and it doesn't bother me anymore. Do I still have the possibility that my wisdom teeth will still come in? Yes, but at this point I'm old enough. I really doubt it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like at this point, it would be incredibly unlikely. I feel that my wisdom teeth would be sprouting in, out of nowhere and hurt my mouth or whatever. So in that regard, I think I'm all right. Okay, but yeah, I still have lingering pain every once in a while, but it's certainly not like crippling, awful pain. I think that only happens if they actually fully come in. So, okay. Shout out to Plaguetastic, who asked the following question on Twitter. Regarding your well-known temper tantrums over the years and sometimes childish behavior, are you self-aware of it and do you see it as an issue? In other words, have you knowingly improved yourself throughout the years by keeping your cool more often, or is it something that just happened? No, like I know for a fact that sometimes I lose my cool. As I said to you guys on this show, if I used to get angry about something, I would put up a big vlogging, ranting vlog, stamping my feet, screaming, insulting, being an asshole to everyone, saying this is bullshit, how dare this negatively affect me, right? And not to say that I don't get upset about stuff in the modern era, I do, but I don't really lose it as much. I would say the only times that I'll really lose it, two opportunities. Number one, if I'm playing a fighting game and the whole match just breaks down because of terrible lag, that's number one. Or someone knows their connection is so bad and they play in a manner to abuse that lag to win, and they would only win with that lag present. Or number two, Call of Duty. Because Call of Duty is a franchise that at one point was the epitome of what you could do with a first-person shooter. I felt they were doing everything right, and then they just degraded their franchise into liquefied mush for small children who shouldn't even be playing their fucking games, to play them with kill streaks and gizmos and gadgets and different loadout characters and all kinds of stupid kitty bullshit that doesn't belong in a serious first-person shooter, yet they still act like they are the top one, okay? So that being said, yeah, I would say that for the most part, if you don't notice, I really don't rage that much anymore. If I die, maybe I'll live for a minute, but then I kind of just relax, I sit back, or I'll just do like a more deadpan reaction rather than me immediately exploding with crazy over-the-top rage and anger like I used to. Again, you gotta harken myself back to the angry video game nerd when I first started on YouTube. That was my inspiration. So it seemed like being angry and over the top and irate and full of vulgarity used to be the thing to get noticed on YouTube. Now, it's not so much, especially on Twitch. It's kind of the opposite. If you have a more honest reaction or you laugh at it or whatever, it ends up being better for the content than being an asshole, right? So, hold on a second, because we got a few trolls in stream chat today, guys, and I apologize because it looks like we have no mods around, so no one's moderating no one is moderating the stream chat, and I apologize for that because obviously with these people trolling, you guys basically get upset that you can't really talk the way you want, and I get that. All right, the squirrel is moving. For now, he looks okay. Okay. All right. But yeah, I would say it's two things. Number one, I became more mature over the years. I don't want to do the more ranty, raging commentary constantly. I don't always, every time I play a game, I don't want to always make it a 10-minute rant about how the game developers are the worst people on the planet and they suck. I'll still do that for Treyarch when I play Call of Duty because I actually factually believe that they did fuck the franchise up. But as for regular, honest games that I play, no, I'm not going to just do that for the sake of doing it, all right? Maybe I'll get a little frustrated, say, man, that's unfair, or man, I think they should have done it better. But no, I'm not going to sit here and just do what I used to do, which was basically constantly just tear everyone a new asshole. It's funny because a lot of people, know me by the nickname The King of Hate, and the reason they thought that was they thought, oh, that's the guy who just unfairly hates on games and game developers. That's his shtick. It really wasn't, and that's not even where their moniker came from, but people erroneously thought that over the years. Even Total Biscuit thought that over the years. That's just that asshole who just makes fun of games and game developers and doesn't actually give them a fair shake. That's his shtick, and he's popular because of it, and I don't agree with that. That's not what it was at all. But that's kind of what it became for a lot of people, this negative connotation for what my name meant and who I was, okay? But that being said, Now I don't feel like I'm like that anymore. You know what I mean? Like I do think that I've changed, and even though every once in a while if I get fighting game or Call of Duty will get my goat, outside of that I don't really feel that it's like for example, just recently I'm playing Dark Souls for like the fourth time. I'm still sucking at it, but I'm not gonna sit here and rage at From Software. I'd be a moron. I've played this game a bunch of times. I know what's in the game. I know its shortcomings. Yet I still sit here and complain. What am I gonna do that for? Right? I'm maturing. I'm becoming more accustomed to the fact that no, I'm not a perfect gamer. I suck at a lot of games, and when I play them, I'm going to fail, and that's okay. Even if it's frustrating to have to replay the part of the game a bunch of times, it's okay. It's entertaining for the viewers. It's fine. Don't lose my cool because it's not going to do anything. It's just going to get my heart rate up and piss me off, right? So there you go. Okay. Dacky Swerve is trolling, so you can have a 10-minute timeout. I've had enough of him being negative the whole stream, and if he continues, he'll be permanently banned. Okay. All right, continuing on. So now we got 2 more questions off of Twitter, and then we can get to stream questions. So let's see what these Twitter questions are. We start off with Tom. He says, what happened to Machinima? Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened with Machinima in a nutshell. They were bipolar. They didn't know what the fuck they wanted to do. They didn't know what to focus on as a company. They didn't know if they wanted to be a channel that houses other creators' content and features it. They didn't know if they wanted to be a partnership network to partner other content creators to put content on their own channels. They didn't know if they wanted to be a PR company that sent people out to places like E3 and had a big Machinima booth at E3, and they would go out and cover stuff for their own website. They didn't know if they wanted to have their own shows on their own channels, right? They didn't. I'm still going because we're not done. They didn't know if they wanted to be a company that wanted to go out and make like television and entertainment series. They were so split on anything that they wanted to do as a priority. They never actually excelled at anything. When you have the saying, jack of all trades, master of none. They did too much and never focused in on becoming good at anything. And because of that, they would constantly bleed money. They would get, oh, we got a big investment this year from these investors, right? So let's go ahead and put this into all these crazy endeavors, but they never focused in on one that would just keep making them a revenue stream. So they'd blow all their money. Now, just think of something. The Machinima channel on YouTube has 12 million subscribers or 13 million, something like that. The videos make tons of views. They should have been, by all rights, bringing in ridiculous money on that channel. Where did the money go, right? Where did all this constant investor, just over the years that I was partnered with Machinima? First, they had Microsoft investor money. They went and they made that Halo series. Then they got YouTube investor money. YouTube actually invested in them for them to make a series that they said would exclusively be on YouTube. Then Warner Brothers bought them and invested money in them. I don't know where that money went because I never saw a single thing from Machinima that focused on Warner Brothers. So over the years, every 1 or 2 years, they'd get big investor money. Probably I'm talking hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars invested in the company. And the management at the top of the company would completely squander all the money and blow through it and not actually be good at anything and then have to look for more investors. So eventually, after years of this happening, I partnered with them in 2011. They'd been around years before that, like up to, I think it was like 2007, 2008 when they really got their start. So, they had been a company or that had a reputation as a big company on YouTube for a while, and their name had clout or whatever. And of course, a YouTube channel with 13 million subscribers means something. But they never had management who, number one, understood gaming. Just being honest here, they didn't get it. They didn't understand what they were trying to do with this company and how they could be profitable with gaming. And number two, who basically would just say, let's do this and try this. Instead, they would just constantly just like have a fucking giant spitball diagram on the wall, right? Okay, here's 40 ideas. Let's just spitball. Okay, let's just do these things. It didn't even make any sense, half the shit they did. None of the series, the television style series they ever did, were very good. And the ones that they did, they had Mortal Kombat, one of Halo, and they had 1 or 2 others. They were just so, you could tell they put a ton of money into them for a B-movie series no one cared about and probably never made any money. So why the fuck did they even do that? You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make any sense at all. It was just confusion at the massive sense. And the other thing about Machinima, because they never were set in what they were supposed to be doing, the company's structure changed constantly. Like I said, in the years that I was partnered with them, this person is your rep. If you have any questions or anything you need as a partner, you contact that person. Okay, within 6 months, that person's laid off from the company. You don't have a rep anymore. Here's an automated system to submit a log. Oh, wait, 2 months later, we got a new system, a new partner-based system where we're going to provide you with games so that you can actually do advanced reviews, and we're going to fly you out to E3, and we got sponsorship if you promote this game Hawking and do all this. Within 6 months, that whole system's gone. Everyone's laid off again. It's like, huh? And that's how the company was. Like, you could never know what the fuck to count on with Machinima because they'd have these promotions and things going on. They would just pull them out, pull the rug out for one who doesn't exist anymore. So for me, over the years that I was partnering with Machinima, I literally turned down almost every opportunity except for when I wanted to go to E3. That I obviously wanted to do. And then I think in 2016, they provided me with a few games. Actually, it might have been 2015. It was like 2015, 2016. They provided me with a few free games for review purposes. But outside of that, do you want to be part of this Xbox One promotion? Nope. Leave me out. Do you want to be part? Nope. I just want to make shit on my own channels. You guys do whatever you want because every time you tell me something good's going to happen, oh my God, do you guys remember the Xbox 360 app of Machinima? And they said, Phil, you're going to be promoted heavily on this app, so we want you to sign this new contract so all your videos can show up on the app and you're going to make extra money. You want to see how much extra money I ever made being on the app? Zero. I made none. I made no money on it. They never implemented it properly to display the ads, and the ads that showed up, I never made any money on, even though I was supposed to. So it was a whole thing. They had me advertise for them and everything. They even sent me an Xbox that was Machinima branded or whatever, and the thing never worked. You see what I mean? So basically, after all of this for years and years and years of just not having an identity, not knowing what they were supposed to do, they ran out of money again. And the last time they ran out of money, they got bought out by some company named Otter Media. I don't even know who the fuck they are. But basically, they fell apart. They couldn't even afford to partner people anymore. And because they couldn't have a partnership company, all their partners were either shuffled to another one called Full Screen or were released. So they lost their partnerships even though they did nothing wrong. The channel, the Machinima channel, had all the videos privated, and the suspect thing there is that if they had leave those videos public, they would still legally have to pay royalties to the people who created the videos and gave them to them. And since they're owned by another company, they don't want to do that anymore. So that instead of just ending the contracts or violating contracts, just put them all on private. They can no longer make money anymore, and you owe no one anything ever again. Keep in mind, that's 10 plus years of content creation of people who literally, their blood, sweat, and tears went into making those videos and giving them to Machinima to be a part of their company. And all those videos are lost to the internet now because they just got bought out, and basically they're being taken apart. Like piece by piece, they're being taken apart. And it's a shame because people lost their jobs, people lost their work. It's a mess. If only that company had upper management worth a shit. And all I'm going to say is this. When I had my falling out with Machinima in 2017, I did some research, all right, without naming any names. I think it was about 2012, 2013, a new guy took over Machinima. He was brought in as the CEO. This guy had a silver spoon in his mouth when he came out of his mom's vagina. He did. He was born filthy rich. He earned nothing in his life ever. Everything was always handed to him. Went to the best colleges because his parents paid his fucking way, and literally was handed management positions his whole life. This is the guy who was running Machinima. So you got a guy with no actual experience of doing anything well, just handed job after job after job. A person I would compare this with, you guys remember Don Matrick over at Microsoft, the guy who single-handedly sunk the Xbox One launch, and it took years for Xbox One to catch up because of this fucker? Same kind of guy, all right? And he came into Machinima with all these lofty ideas of what he wanted to do. This guy single-handedly destroyed the company, all right? Single-handedly destroyed the company. Oh, and by the way, that guy was responsible for getting rid of my Machinima partnership. I never told you guys about that before, but now that Machinima doesn't exist anymore, I can tell you, that guy was responsible for getting rid of my Machinima partnership because I had emailed my old contact during 2017 when the YouTube adpocalypse happened. My old contact was the head of the partnership program. I hadn't talked to him in about a year. And I emailed him and it said, oh, this guy doesn't work with the company anymore. If you have a major concern you need to contact someone with, write this guy instead. This is the guy who all the emails are being forwarded to. So I did. And then the next day, I got a message from the automated log service from Machinima saying, don't you dare ever send emails internally to us ever again. Even though previously that was the right way to do things, I was basically talked down to like a child. Don't you ever ever do that ever again. You're only supposed to go through the automated log system. You're just a lowly partner. How dare you try to seek help from like other people in the company and management and the like. So come to find out, what I actually found out happened was this guy who took over Machinima, after he disbanded the partner program and everything himself, because again, he has no idea what the fuck he's doing. He's a complete fucking moron who's a rich bitch, silver spoon in his mouth, didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He was taking in emails from the partner program guys who no longer work there anymore. He saw my email and personally complained to the people at the automated log saying, why aren't you people handling this? And they said, oh, well, we're doing our best, but this guy's complaining because his livelihood's going to be lost or whatever. Apparently the guy looked into it and said, oh, all right, we'll just get rid of him then. Well, guess what? 2 years later, that guy doesn't have a job anymore. So there you go. You know, isn't it funny how things come full circle, right? I was born rich. I was handed everything in my fucking life, never earned anything, never had a creative bone in my fucking body, got upper management positions every company I ever was in because I had an Ivy League education because my parents could afford it, not because I was good at anything. I worked at Machinima from like 2012 till the end. I single-handedly sunk the whole company. You know, this is the legacy this guy will have. The sad part is, this is the real sad part. If you look at Don Matrick, after he single-handedly tanked the Xbox One launch, he was hired by Zynga, a mobile games company, for millions of dollars as their interim CEO, and he made tons of money from them, sank their company, and then went on to another high-paying job. This is how it is in the industry. For some reason, people just keep hiring people who they know, who are in this elitist group of people who are rich already, and they keep getting all the high-paying positions and sinking companies. And it's hilarious because the Ivy League education system in America is completely broken. It's more of a way to control the American populace and have a elitist group of people stay in power rather than actually have intelligent people come out and run businesses properly. But it's pretty bad. And I had to laugh hearing Machinima is now falling apart. Sad that all these people who worked for the company lost their jobs because of this asshole. And sad that sadly, all the work of the people who had ever submitted stuff to Machinima is lost because of one guy railroading the company because he thought that he was smarter than everybody else. But that's how it works in America, corporate America, apparently. What can I say? All right. Well, continuing on, everyone. And in fact, you know what? Actually, now's a good opportunity because I still have about 2 to 3 more questions to go through, and then I'm going to do 4 stream questions. So let's take a break. And if you're here live on stream, this is probably going to be about a 15-minute break. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm just going to make a part 3 that you can actually watch at your leisure. Okay? So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And I hope that you'll come back to watch the final part. Thanks, everyone, for your support. And I'll be back with the conclusion in a moment. Thanks.